How we doing? Good? I'm going to go ahead and apologize right now if I get a little short of breath. Is anybody else, I don't know if it's the altitude or if it's my Spanx that I'm wearing right now. Because I don't know, I got everything cinched up, cinched tight. I'm double wired here, fired up, ready to roll. No, I appreciate the introduction. Yeah, this is my third time with you guys. I've been fortunate enough to come out and hang out on a couple different occasions. Who was at the Chicago meeting? That was about maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Anybody? Okay, so all right, great. We had a great time. They rented a rooftop suite at Wrigley for us, which was a phenomenal experience. And then they were nice enough to bring me back to Nashville a year or two later. Anybody at the Nashville? And that was the site of the infamous dance contest, which I think I pulled my hamstring. I think my hammy is still a little tender off that, but that was a great time. And then this year tops them all. I was sitting back watching the other night at the Western night, and just thinking through some things. And you know, we're in the insurance business. We're in the business of risk, and this tells you a lot about you guys, AmTrust, how you like to have a good time. So think through this with me. We've got a mechanical bull. The sole purpose of a mechanical bull is to throw its rider off in as violent a manner as possible. And then the best part is you combine that with an open bar. I mean, what could possibly go wrong in that scenario? But I just sat back and watched it. You guys have a lot of fun, and that's key. We're in this thing together, in this insurance business. I often tell people, they say, how in the world did you get in the insurance business? I say, well, I went to the wrong booth at career day. You know, that's what I've always told people. But it's actually, I mean, it's a great business. You know, our product isn't the fanciest and sexiest product out there, but it's made up of great people, and we tend to have a really good time together. And so while I'm on the agency side, I do feel like it's one big family. We're all fighting this thing together. We've got a lot, obviously, going on in our business, obviously, with the storms brewing out there. So my thoughts are with them. But just a little bit about me. My background, for the past 20 plus years, I've been an independent agent. 15 of those, I've been an agency principal and partner. And really, this talk we're going to go through today is based off of the experiences that I've had while hosting, at a minimum, I tried to do a little math, around 1,500 to 2,000 agency visits. For our agency, handled all of the company reps that would come out. So when they came out, they met with me. If I needed other people, then I would have the producers and so forth and staff in the meeting. But I handled all those. And I sat down one day and I said, man, 10, 15 years, it's a big number, because I averaged probably 3 a week or so. Never on Fridays. They knew not to come on Friday afternoon because I wasn't there. But I started putting some notes together. And really, when you go through that many visits, you see it all. You see the good, the bad, and the ugly of your marketing rep brethren out there. And so I need to tell you, I kind of put you at ease a little bit, you can breathe a little bit. The bar, in many cases, has been set really low, really low. I'm telling you, it is a glaring deficiency in our business for insurance carriers on how they train and equip the people that come and visit with guys like me. For some, it's extremely evident that literally they've been given a business card and a portfolio and a name of an agency, and they show up. I've seen it all. My former office, my office was on the side of the building, and my window faced the parking lot, which was fantastic because that way I could see the guy that was coming to visit with me as he peeled in. I'll never forget this guy, on 2 wheels, literally, into my parking lot, squealing tires, slams on the brakes because he's like 5 minutes late as it is. He pulls in my parking lot, and I'm watching him. I actually raised my blinds a little bit so I could see it better because I knew exactly who it was. He pulls in, and he gets out of his car, and he doesn't have a shirt on. He's not wearing a shirt. He's shirtless in my parking lot. He's got his suit pants on. He has no shirt on.
Not a t-shirt, no shirt.
No shirt, zero shirt, nothing, not even nothing. He gets out, he literally opens the back door, and he pulls his shirt off. He's got it on a hanger, and he dresses for the meeting with me in my parking lot. Full on, shirt, tie, tied it like 5 to 10 times. Literally, as he closed the door, he closed it on his tie, which was even better because I brought all the staff in there to see that, which is great. And so he gets himself, he has no idea that I'm watching him the whole time. And he gets out and he comes up and tries to get himself together. And basically at this point, he's looking like a little bit like Chris Farley, if you guys remember Chris Farley. I mean, he's disheveled, he's sweaty, it's bad. And then he wonders why our production is low. You think? I mean, really? You wonder why? But we've seen it all. I've had people brush their teeth in my parking lot prior to coming up to see me. How many people putting on their makeup? I mean, so what I'm saying is just don't do that. If you just didn't do that, you're already ahead of many of your competitors, okay? So I started putting some thoughts together, and that's what this is. This is called red carpet. And the goal of this entire talk is when you show up to an office like mine, what you want is the red carpet treatment. You want them to roll out the red carpet. You want them to be excited that you're on their calendar. You don't want them running behind closed doors. How many times does that happen? You show up, you go to the receptionist desk, you sign the guest book, right? And you're there for your meeting with Trip Trey Wilson III. I don't know why insurance guys all have names like that, especially in the South. I mean, it's crazy, right? Only to be greeted with what the receptionist tells you, oh, I'm so sorry. You just missed it. Something must have come up. I'm so terribly sorry. But listen, while you're here, I want you to feel free to make the rounds. Walk around the office and see who's available, right? And at the same moment they say that, for some reason you hear a lot of office doors close. I don't know why that happens, right? Anybody? Is that some vaguely familiar? Anybody, that ever happened? It happens. So the goal of this is for that not to happen. I want you to show up, and so I want nothing to ever come up on their calendar. I want them to be excited to see it. So I started putting together some thoughts, and that's what created this whole red carpet workshop. So we're going to spend time on 3 areas. I think there's really 3 components that make up a successful and effective agency visit. Pre-meeting, so you're pre-planning before you show up, the actual meeting, the visit, and then post-meeting. Those 3 components. All right? And each of them are just as important as the next. Oftentimes we spend all of our time focused solely on the 45 minutes or the hour that you're going to be sitting in our conference room. All right, but there's a lot more to it. So let's get cranking. First thing is pre-planning, right there. This is just a fact. The level to which you plan an event is in direct proportion to how important the event is to you. So anyone that's been married, is married, or going to get married, let me ask you something. Is there ever been a bride, ever, in the history of all marriages, that simply shows up and just hopes everything's going to work out? Of course not. Everything is planned, down to the very last detail. Why? Because it's important. It's their big day. There are people called wedding planners. They made a movie called The Wedding Planner. But why? There's been a lot of weddings before, right? It's nothing new. We know what's going to happen, right? Same thing with agency visits. There's been a ton of them. Why? Because it's important. So the level to which you plan is equal to the level of importance that that meeting or event is to you. So why isn't it more important to you? Why isn't your visit for 45 minutes or an hour with John Doe Agency and his team, why isn't it that vital to you? And I have a theory why. The theory why is we minimize the importance of a single meeting because we are counting on future ones. So what happens oftentimes, everybody does, and I'm telling you, like I said, I've been a producer for 20 plus years. I've done the same thing. So I was talking to some guys last night. I said, my thing about speaking and training and teaching and all this stuff, I will never tell you anything, ever, that I haven't done myself, out of a spirit of credibility. So I'm a practitioner of this stuff. I just don't talk about it. I'm not a professor, right? I'm a practitioner, okay? But I think we do that. We tend to do that. We're focused maybe on the next meeting, so we show up to this one, and we don't give it the merit and the importance that we may ought to, right? But here's my question to you. What if there isn't a second meeting? What if you got one shot? Maybe it's your first visit with this agent. It's a brand new agent for you, and you're coming in. I'm telling you, it is true. You get one chance. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression. So how are you going to do that? Okay, a few tips on pre-planning. Go ahead and turn the page there. Number 1 is know your audience. Know who you're coming to see. As I mentioned before, I never take meetings on Fridays. So anyone that's going to call on me probably needs to find that out. I'm not going to be there. Right? And the illustration I give is that you've got a meeting scheduled with whoever, and it's Monday morning at, say, 10, 11 o'clock, and the good news is that he's a Rotarian and has never missed a Rotary meeting in 40 years. The bad news is that it's every Monday. So if you're scheduled to meet with him on Monday, understand something. Yeah, he's probably going to take the meeting, but he's not going to be focused on you. So that's the type of information you need to know. You need to know your audience. The key to getting to know who you're going to come meet with is get to know their people. That's huge. Now, you can't do this overnight. It takes a little bit of time. But every single person like me, whether it's an agent, whether it's an agency principal or whoever, they have a staff, they have support, they have an account manager, account exec, personal assistant, whoever. Get close to them. They know everything about us. So people that are going to come meet with me, they know my account executive, and has been for 16 years, is Tricia. Tricia knows everything about me. She knows what I like, she knows what I don't like, she knows what I eat, she knows where I eat, she knows when I eat, she knows the companies that I don't like. She knows that. So think about it. If you're trying to get close to me and you want more of my business, it's probably important to get to know her. They will tell you everything that you need to know about who you're coming to visit, right? Because you don't want to walk in talking about something maybe that they really don't like, or maybe it's a sensitive area. So I encourage you, get to know your audience. Number 2 is know your venue. Next page. Know the venue. Here's what I mean by that. Not every office is created equal, okay? I give the illustration in here that my very first office when we started our agency, it was terrible. I mean, it's all we could afford. It was awful. And I had a guy come out to meet with me, and he was so fired up about his PowerPoint, couldn't wait to show me. And I said, well, that's fantastic. We can do that. But the only problem is, when you fire this thing up, it's going to basically short out our computers and the coffee maker, and the microwave's going to go off. And all of a sudden, we're cooking popcorn, and we don't know how it started, okay? He had no plan B. Everything he had was a PowerPoint. It was a very short meeting, all right? He had nothing. So here's what I'm saying. Actually know and do a little bit of legwork on the front end, depending on what your presentation is going to be. That could have all been avoided with a single phone call. One phone call to say, Jason, listen, here's what I have in mind. Will that work? And I would have said, man, actually, it really won't. I apologize. And that's on us. We're new. We're broke. We have a terrible office. I would tell him, right? So you probably want to bring something, maybe a handout, or maybe bring something else, okay? That would have all been avoided. Here's a tip on that. If you don't know them or maybe have never been to this office, you may want to reach out to a non-competitor colleague in your space. Hopefully you guys are involved with Big I and PIA and different organizations like that. That's a great way to get to know peers in this business. And reach out to them. Man, it can be a friendly competitor. Just say, listen, hey, I've got a meeting with Wilson & Sons next week. Give me the skinny here. You know, what's the lowdown here, right? And you'd be surprised. People will talk. People will tell you, okay? That's a tip. Step number 3. This should go without saying, but it's amazing. In 2017, how many people show up late to stuff? It's incredible. Plan your route. I mean, now yes, please.
So we've got some inside salespeople in the room and outside salespeople in the room.
Yeah.
So relative to the last comment that you made, an inside salesperson might not have the contacts at, say, a Big I or Young Agents or somewhere like that that we're reaching out to. So I would want to say to the inside salespeople, reach out to your RSMs, because they've been in all these offices, otherwise they wouldn't be assigned to them. So if you're calling somewhere and you're having a difficult time meeting that second know your venue, which I think is very important and difficult to do over the phone, please reach out to your RSMs. I see a head shaking, yes.
Yeah, because too, with my BGCs, I send my itinerary out weekly.
Right.
So they know where I'm going and so forth, so they'll jump in if they have something to say, or if they have a call or a service issue. So we know what we're dealing with beforehand when I go out. So I can also address that, but they also know where I'm going in case they need to send something out to that person.
Absolutely.
That they have an issue with.
And as my meticulously planned friend will also share with you, her call notes are dynamite. So I would say go through and read call notes too, so that you can get a better idea of your venue. Would you say it's a good idea for an inside salesperson or a bad idea to ask questions of the front desk kind of gatekeeper receptionist that they might be calling when they, just to kind of set the scene, usually stick to an RSM?
No, well, I mean, I don't know that you come right out of the gate asking that.
Right.
The front desk person, it takes a little bit of time. Maybe not on the first call.
Right.
Or maybe as you wrap up the call, you definitely don't, because you don't want to appear, just telling you, you don't want to appear as a telemarketer. Right? Everybody gets 1 million calls a day. You want to appear just as a person. I'm just making a simple call, right? And so in conversational tone, yeah, absolutely, I think that's fair. Because you're just asking, listen, I just need your help on something. And then typically they'll open up and tell you what you need. But yeah, on this plan the route thing, I literally put a link on there for you at the bottom. You can go on there and that will tell you basically everything that's under construction on highways. And here's why I put that on there. I had a meeting with one of your competitors about 4 months ago, and they were an hour and a half late for our meeting. And I had extra people come in for the meeting. Hour and a half late. They called me after they were a half hour late, which is still, it's inexcusable. Inexcusable. And they blamed it on everything. Everything. It was this, it was that, it was global warming, it was Obamacare, it was, I mean, what? What? Really? Come on. Here's the thing about, if you've heard me speak before, here's the thing about excuses. The only person who believes your excuse is you. That's it. No one believes it. It's 2017. You got it on your phone. Okay? Plan accordingly, know your route. Let's move on. This one we're going to spend a little bit of time on. Number 4, and you got a blank there to fill in. Bring answers to my questions. Bring them. Now, if you're brand new, this takes a little bit of time. After you've had a few, you're going to be able to anticipate what a lot of agents are going to ask, right? And I will tell you right now, I put a list there under that insider tip. I do not know an agent or an agency principal that is not concerned about this, right? First one is current premium volume. We need to know. We've got a lot of companies that we're managing, okay? We're not going to know off the top of our head what our volume is with AmTrust. Now, here's the beautiful thing that you guys have that your competitors don't have. You got it, the OTG, you got it right here on your phone. You've got it. I've seen it. I had a demo. They showed me how it works. It's fantastic. Okay, so you've already got that. You're a leg up on many of your competitors from that standpoint. But we need to know that stuff. Walk in prepared with that. Okay? Contrary to popular belief, commission is important to us. That's how we get paid. We kind of need to know. We need to know. And you'd be shocked, again, how many times I ask, hey, what is our current commission schedule? And crickets. Nothing. I don't know. I don't know. I'll get back to you on that. Really? You're going to get back to me? That's your job. You're supposed to know. You're coming to meet with me. That's how I get paid. Right there. Right? Know that. Have that. And I think you've got it right here on your OTG. This is big. These next 2 year-to-date standings, incentive trips. That's different for every company. Some do it, some don't. That's fine. Now let me spend some time on this next one. This is huge. Where do we stand if you guys are doing any type of contingency bonuses, any type of profit sharing? Maybe it's an increased commission off of certain volume. Please know that. And I'm going to tell you why. I had a situation, this is years ago, having a meeting with one of your competitors. And this is in January, and we're having the yearly planning meeting, which right there he's behind. Right there. I mean, in January, the year's already started. And we're sitting down, and we're going through stuff. And I said, I know we didn't have a huge year with you. So, I know we're not getting, profit sharing this year. But I'm just curious, how close were we? How'd we end up? And he's, oh, Jason, I hate to tell you this. He said, you were $30,000 short, premium, short from hitting the number. I said, really? I said, now here's the question I really don't want to ask, and I really don't want to know. How much did we miss out on? He said, oh, well, yeah, that's really bad. It's about, say, $35,000. $30,000 in profit? $30,000 in profit. Here's the deal. That equated, according to we ran real lean profit margins. We paid probably double to the agent as most agencies, compared to most agencies. So we ran lean. Using a 10% margin, do the math real quick on that. That equates to around $3 million in premium that we lost, in essence. It's like losing a $3 million account, because you got to have $3 million in premium to then equal, say, $300,000 in revenue to then equal $30,000 in profit at 10 points. Think about that number right now. There's not an agency that you call on, there's not one that would not be very concerned about losing $3 million in premium. Is there? No. Some agencies may not even have $3 million with you. That's a big number. That is huge. When he said that, I mean, it took everything in me not to throw him completely out of my office. He's a pretty big guy, so it hurt my back, so I didn't do it. But I was just, I'm sure my face, all the color around my face, oh my God. Now, a lot of you may be thinking, well, I mean, it's kind of your agency, you're a partner, you should know that stuff. Yes, I agree with you, 100%. But you know what, if you've ever been I got a bunch of plaques on my wall, a bunch. We got a lot of companies. It is very difficult to keep track of all that all the time. It really is. Think of the hero this guy would have been had he said, Jason, man, God, we got about 4 months to go. You are so close. You're $30,000 away. That's one account, or that's a handful. It's a couple of accounts. I don't want you to miss out on this, because I'm telling you, not every agency principal spends it all on themselves. Okay? Sometimes it's bonuses, it's raises, it's equipment, it's new cubicles, it's X, Y, and Z for your people. All right? That's real money. That's real stuff that now I don't have because of $30,000. $30,000. You know what I would have done had he told me that? After he walked out, there would have been an emergency staff meeting, because I've done it. Emergency. Everybody, all hands, everybody in the conference room, let's go. Let's go. And it would have been, listen, guys, we got $30,000. Find it. Find it. Go get it or find it with what we got. All right? We'd have done it. Know your numbers. That's all I'm telling you. Know that stuff. Okay? Lastly on that is status updates on large accounts, and I'll also put VIP accounts. So if it's important, yes?
I have a question on that.
Sure.
I'm always in the dilemma when we get this time of year, which is now, and the agency's running a loss ratio of 76.
Right.
Do you then take a staff meeting and go, no more this company because we'll have no chance of making it this year? Do you do the opposite ever?
What was your question
Do the
again?
opposite. So,
You mean shut it down?
Coming in September,
Not too
October,
profitable, shut it down. Yeah.
and shut it down because we'll have no chance of hitting it for the rest of the calendar year. These three guys, because
Right.
we're shot, let's, if it happens, it happens, but because our loss ratio is over whatever, we're not gonna qualify.
We would have a meeting. I'm not saying we would necessarily shut down, but we would have a meeting and really look at what's out there and what's open and hey, what's going on. I mean, yeah, it's sometimes it's hard to, because again, there's been some agencies that get in trouble over steering and different things or whatever, but no, trust me, there will be a conversation. Absolutely. But yeah, especially in that reversal where we're $30,000 shy, we're going to make that happen. Absolutely. Loss ratios are very hard. That's why we have insurance. It's very hard to get on people, because I've had accounts where mine is the one that blew through it. And so it's really difficult sometimes to have those conversations on, hey, try not to have a claim, be real careful stuff. But no, there'd be a conversation. For sure. Yes. Sure.
So that's a very good point, because I do have an agent that I'm working with now, and we happen to be at an 80% loss ratio. However, it's one of my partner agents. So what I decided to do with them, when we talked about not only the agency business report, I run a claims detail report.
Nice.
But I let them know that I'm in with them. So I will contact not only our claims department, but the claims supervisor I'm working with now. I'm also taking a proactive initiative to work with claims adjusters, asking to look at reserves, what can they pull back on? Where are we? When was this reviewed, and so forth. But working with the claims supervisor that we have in our office, Lydia, that's who we have.
That's great.
She is on board with the RSMs contacting the adjuster to see what they can do and look at those reserves, because my goal is to get them under 45%.
Yeah, I always bring the
by
claims
December.
information and try to figure out, is it one claim?
That is
Is it no
tough
reserve? I
one,
get all that.
because you're right, you don't want them to have that reverse conversation.
Right.
Say, no, we're gonna pull back on AmTrust because we're already, way past the loss ratio. So start to get really involved with them, and don't let that loss ratio, get you off track or have that conversation. Pull back and turn it around.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's great. Love it. All right, let's move on. Yes.
One thing you mentioned is you said large account and VIP.
Yes.
And to me, there could be a differentiator
Yes.
between, and I think it's critically important that we ask an agent, okay, we may have a large account with you, but what's your VIP account? Because it could be a large personal lines account.
That's right.
Where the commercial piece maybe is your grandmother's property.
That's right.
We need to treat that with kid gloves.
No question.
I think that's critically important.
Well, it is, because like I said, a VIP account, it could be his buddy's BOP account that you're writing. Right?
That's through your agency though, right?
It could be. It all gets back to that. That's exactly right. Lastly, on pre-meeting, I'm a believer in sending an invitation. Send some type of invitation. And what I do, and I will tell you, like I said, I've done this a long time. I've only seen a handful of companies do this, where they actually send a meeting agenda ahead of time. Now, it does not have to be, it can be 4 or 5 items. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't need to take you more. You guys are busy. You guys have a lot of meetings, okay? I'm not trying to pile more work on you, but here's what I am saying, is that you're coming in and you're about to take my time, you're about to take our staff's time, which collectively is a lot of money. It's a lot. For an hour, if you run the hourly rate, it's a lot. All right, wouldn't it be nice to at least know what we're going to talk about? Most people do not do that. They walk in and whatever gets talked about, gets talked about. Have a plan. Yes, sir?
I work out of the New York, New Jersey area. There's a lot of things going on, and a lot of changes and upgrades and new different things. And a lot of times I found when you do that and you send that email to the principal and you put those 3, 4, 5 bullet points of things that you really want to stress, that it really kind of gets a response a lot quicker.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting, as opposed to just going in and, but it's good. I've noticed it just seems to kind of look better.
Well, no, it does. And again, our whole goal here is to separate yourself from your competitors. Your competitors don't do that. They show up, like I said, and then we make small talk for 30 to 45 minutes, and then we go to lunch. You don't know. We got stuff to talk about. All right, and I literally created, I went on Google. I do this, again, I'm not telling you anything to do that I don't do. I do this for my clients. I've set an agenda of stuff that I want to make sure, and here, let me tell you why, because it keeps me on track. We're going to get to that in just a second. If nothing else, it keeps me on track to make sure that I hit certain issues that need to be hit. Okay, I encourage you to do it. Again, it's going to separate yourself from your competition. Yes?
Do you ever get a rep asking you to add to the agenda?
To add to the agenda?
We have our agenda,
okay.
we're going to go over, but what about?
Most will say something like, the ones that do it, and I'm literally telling you, this is such a small number that have actually ever done that. A good thing to say is, listen, feel free to add anything that I'm missing. I always kind of do that, say, listen, here's what I want to make sure that we cover. Feel free to add any actionable items that we need to make sure that we hit on. Okay?
Well, that's critically important, and that's like if you're going out to meet with your client, is there something else that I can bring that's important to you?
That's right.
We need to know what you need from us,
That's
what
right.
can I bring to address your concerns? And another thing with the agenda, and it's a shame because I have seen that RSMs have gotten away from that, and I think it's really important because it also tells you, oh, that company has some automation changes, I need to bring this person in to make sure they're privy to what's going on with
That's right.
the company.
That's right. And it does several things. I think it makes you more professional. It really does. It shows a firm start time and a firm stop time. Because again, you're sensitive to their time. Hey, listen, you're coming in here, right? If it's just me, that's one thing, but if you're sitting in there with an entire staff, and a lot of times we bring our whole team in, everybody. So then run the math on it real quick. That's a lot. It's a lot, okay? And I think, again, it's going to separate you from everybody else that's calling on me. Like I said, very few, very, very few do it, okay? Next step is this, okay? We've pre-planned, and now it's go time, all right? And I put a few statistics on here. LeBron James is paid $377,000 per game. Garth Brooks makes about $1 million per show. Top neurosurgeons make $20,000 per surgery. Average Delta captain takes home around $300 per flight. All of the practicing, rehearsing, education, and training they have had is of zero value if they don't perform. They are paid to perform. So are you. Here's what I think is important for you guys to realize. So I want you to run your numbers, okay? Really, when you break it down, so I've got a little bit of math there. If you have 10 visits a week and the average visit lasts 30 minutes, that means in reality you are paid for performing 5 hours a week. Everything else you do up to that point, all of this stuff, all the education, all of the tools that they're providing you guys, is of no value if you don't perform when it's time to perform. You have my attention, undivided attention, for 45 minutes or an hour. You have my team's undivided attention. How are you going to perform, right? Spotlight goes on. You have the floor. It's go time, right? Here's a few keys on that. Number one is I do believe in small talk for big results, all right? Now, here's the thing. Don't come in and let's talk about the weather. I have a window. I know what's going on with the weather. Okay? Here's a few suggestions for you, some tips. I put the link on there for you. You can set up what are called Google Alerts. I don't know if anybody's ever done this, but it's a pretty cool feature. You can put in your customers, so your agents. So if it's ABC Agency, you can set up a Google Alert for ABC Agency. And here's what that's going to do. That's going to notify you when something of value or something big happens within the people of that agency. So, John Doe at John Doe Agency just got named Man of the Year by the Rotary, whoever, Kiwanis. Wouldn't that be nice to know that when you walk in to meet with him? Right? That way that adds to the, sorry?
What percentage of clients do you do that for?
My A accounts. I don't do it for all of them.
20%?
Top 10%.
Top 10%.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, again, all of this you're going to need to customize for you. Okay? And I always tell people this. Listen, here's a disclaimer. I don't do what you do. I don't. Okay? I do what I do. This is coming from a standpoint. This is your customer talking. Okay? So I always tell people that usually at the beginning, say, listen, I don't want to get in like a little mental jousting match with you. Well, that'll never work in our stuff. No, I promise you, this is straight from your customer. This is stuff that's important to us. So I encourage you to try it. Yeah, it may be for a handful, whatever your top agents are. It's really difficult. You can't do it from all of them, obviously. Right. Yes?
What else is good, you get email notifications, especially on large accounts,
Mm-hmm.
the underwriter stats. And occasionally what you'll do is you'll go in and visit an agent, interesting enough, an hour, half hour, 20 minutes before you get a status on an important account.
Right.
Agency. It's kind of interesting. It doesn't happen that often, but you really have to give them some information, and it always kind of surprises them that they know you're on top of it just as quick as maybe even
Absolutely.
before they've seen it.
I love it. And again, with your the OTG, if it's me, if I have that, I'm literally looking at it before I get out of my car. I mean, I am. Just to know.
That, if you see somebody in front of your office and it's an Aptros person.
No, I would not. No, so long as you got a shirt on, we're good, right? We're good. Let's move on. During the meeting, here's thing. Step 2 is stay on course. This is big because I know we've all been in meetings where certain people hijack the meeting, right? I mean, every office has 1 or 2 producers that they get and they start chasing rabbits. And now all of a sudden you've got a plan and now you're off on a tangent and you're talking about this, you're talking about that, right? Here's why, again, I believe it's important to have an agenda with you, because you're able to then wrangle them back and bring them on back to where we need to spend some time. Let them go for a minute, okay? But typically there's a pause. Sometimes it's them catching their breath, okay? And that's the moment where then you're able to step in and say, okay, we got a few more items that I want to make sure that we get through this, right? That again, that's the key. You got to stay on course. We're famous for that. We're famous for getting off there and beating a dead horse and beating that issue. Okay, you got to be able at some point to get off of it. Okay. Here's a couple things on that. Don't be offended if we didn't read the agenda prior to the meeting. We are impressed that you actually sent one, even if we don't show it. I promise you. I had one of your colleagues yesterday say, man, I have done that, but they never seem to have them with them when I show up. I said, no, exactly. We're never going to have it. So that's why you need to bring copies with you. Okay? But I'm telling you, we appreciate it. We may not say it, but we appreciate it because nobody does it. Nobody does it. Do it. Okay? When the horse is dead, dismount. Dismount. Don't join in the game. Don't. Okay? Acknowledge it. Get it. But you got a job to do. And here's the thing. This is your meeting. It's your meeting. You called the meeting. Own it. It's yours. I'm telling you right now. Now, there are some agency principals that love to tell you how great they are, and they dominate, and they do the whole thing. All right? But I'm going to say most of the time that's probably the exception, not the rule. In many cases, I love when other people are in charge of a meeting because I don't have to be. I may have just walked into our meeting, and who knows what just transpired before you walked in. Who knows? I may have just lost my biggest account. Right? I may have had a major staff issue. Who knows what happened? You don't know what you're walking into. Right? So I kind of like sometimes sitting back and just listen. Hey, it's your meeting. You take it where we want to go. Right? Okay, so stay on course. Here's the thing. This is kind of cool. The 2-minute warning, I call it. In every meeting, if you read this research, it's actually kind of cool since we're in football season. But more points are scored in the final 2 minutes of each half than at any other time of the game. And my theory is because they can see the scoreboard. It's the same players because the pressure's on. Time is running out, right? It's the same thing for your meeting. Have inside, that's why it's important to have a stop time, where you then circle back and you got your wrap up. It's very important. I'm going to tell you how most meetings wrap up with this. Hey, are you guys ready to go to lunch? You ready? All right, where are we going to lunch? What do you want? That's how most meetings end. And there's open items, there's open issues, right? You just had me, you had us for 45 minutes or an hour. Make sure, again, you take control at your meeting. You wrap it all back up, okay? And here's a few points to do that. Recap action items by name. Here's what I mean by that. Let's say you're sitting in there and we got all the producers, and Joe, the young producer, brand new, he has an issue that he brought up on an account that he's working with you. And here's the thing, that account is extremely important to him. You know why it's important? Because it's probably the only one he has, okay? I've been there. I know what it's like. I have the all-time record for the smallest commission check ever, 28 cents. And that's for a month. It's hard to budget off 28 cents, let me tell you, right? When the check inside the envelope is worth less than the stamp on the envelope, you got a problem. This business is tough. It's hard, all right? It's hard to get out there, put yourself out there every single day and get beat on every single day and get rejected every single day and get deals and win deals and lose deals. It's constant, right? So when Joe sits there and asks you about that account, when you're wrapping up the meeting, address Joe by name and the issue by name. Here's what that will do. That will score so many points for you with him. He may be the next big rock star. I'm going to tell you right now, I linked up with a handful of carriers when I started. And you know why I did? Because they treated me with respect. They didn't treat me like a 25-year-old kid that didn't know what he was doing. They treated the little accounts that I brought in with respect, just like they did the agency principal's big account, right? They did. And I partnered with them, and we wrote a whole bunch of business. I'm asking you to do that. That will majorly score points. So go through each issue by name. Joe, I got you. I've made notes here. I'm going to find out. Jim, Mary, Sue, whatever. That will pay huge dividends for you when you wrap up the meeting. Okay? So now we're done with the meeting. And this may be, honestly, this is probably the most important part of the whole thing, is what you do after you walk out. And I've made the statement before that after every single meeting, a conversation takes place. Every single one. Usually you're on the elevator heading down. You're not even in your car yet. And we're having a conversation. All right? Now what is said in that conversation is up to you. You can change the narrative. You can change it by doing this stuff. Right? We can then say, you know what? That was fantastic. That was worth our collective time, versus what I've said a million times, that's an hour of my life I'll never get back. You don't want that, right? So what are you going to do about it? You guys had action items. We came across a few things that are important. What are you going to do about it? How do you not follow up? How do you follow through? It's taking it to completion, whatever those issues are. And here's the first thing I'm going to encourage you to do, is own the issue. Own it. No one in the history of mankind has ever washed a rental car. You know why they don't wash a rental car? Because they don't own it. They don't care, right? Whoever rented cars coming here, you're going to take it back to the airport, and you don't really care what condition it's in. Why? You don't own it. It's not yours. You don't care what it looks like. Same principle on issues. Own it, right? Now here's the thing. You may not be the person that takes it to completion. You need to be the quarterback that makes sure, because you're my person. I don't necessarily know all the internal people at AmTrust, right? I'm dealing with you. You're my person. So just make sure, again, you may have to delegate it and get it done by someone else. That's okay. But I want you to be the person that at least sends the email back to me with that person. Say, Jason, listen, we're on this, and Mary Smith is going to jump in and handle that for you, and I'm positive she's going to get a great result. Okay? I encourage you to do that. And one thing on this is I think it's on the next page, right here, step 1, put it in writing. Put it in writing. Anything of value that we ever do requires what? Our signature. Think about that for a second. Every time we do anything, All right, we have to sign our name to it. Why? Why is that important? Because it's our name. That's why. We're stating by literally when we sign our name to something, when we put it in writing, now again, it could be an email, okay? But when we're coming back to you and we're saying, listen, as a result of our meeting, we decided X, Y, and Z. Here's what we're going to do about X, Y, and Z. Okay? The easiest way that I have found to do that is, very next page, is do a meeting recap.
AKA a call note.
Okay, yeah, you've got it already in your system. I mean, they're making it pretty easy for you guys, all right? Just got to
You can
use
do it
it.
on OTG too if you want to throw one more plug.
Okay. Am I doing good on the plugs? Right? Do a post-meeting follow-up. You can do it real quick. Okay? It doesn't take much time. And what that does is that shows what the issue is. Okay, hopefully you guys like my meeting with Trump and Putin and Rosie. It shows who's responsible, right? And we're going to put out some type of due date or projected due date. Okay? Now here is the thing. Here's the thing. I saw a company slogan that I absolutely loved. It said, "We keep all of our promises. Then again, we don't promise very much." I love it. I love that. Cool. All right. Maybe you guys locked in on 3 issues. Well, you know what? Own those 3. Right? That's what goes in here. Okay. So come up with something. You guys, it sounds like you guys already have what you need.
I would encourage y'all too on that piece, particularly if it's something that you're not going to have responsibility moving forward, i.e. maybe a billing issue or an audit issue that you won't be the person resolving, but that issue came to you. Once you pass that off to somebody else, I would strongly encourage you in your response to your agent, alerting them to CC that person you passed it to. It creates a paper trail that you can go back to if you need to, and it also adds another touch of accountability that you've said to our client, I've passed this off to so-and-so. And if you do it in a professional way, and as long as you bring them all the information they know, no one's going to be offended or upset that you've CC'd them on that.
Yep, I love it. No, it's great. Lastly, on this stuff, it's not the thought that counts. Here's why I want to talk about that for a minute, because we've heard it said a million times, right? Well, it's the thought that counts. No, it's not the thought that counts. It's not. How you feel about someone only matters to you. We can't read minds. It's what you do that matters. How you feel about something really only helps you feel better about yourself, really, right? I mean, I've heard it said. I've had people say it to me. Well, you know I love you. Well, no, I don't. I don't. You know, if you don't tell me, you don't show me, how am I supposed to know that? Right? How's your customer? Here's the thing about your top customer, right? We all know our A's and all that, right? Here's the thing. Your top customer is someone else's top prospect. Yep. Hate to tell you. Right? You are fighting for shelf space. That's really what you're fighting for. We have companies. We got plaques, a lot of them. Right? How are you going to stand out from everybody else that's calling on me? How? How are you going to do it? Right? Care about me. Care about me. Right? I'm telling you right now, I've heard it said, and I believe this 100%. When you care more about the people in the pictures on my desk than the applications in my desk. That's probably a pretty good point. You may want to write that down. When you care. All right? When people care about me, when they ask about me. The whole reason I'm standing in front of you right now is because years ago, Dorothy Howe asked me, not about what binders I could give her, not about my book of business, not about this. She literally said, what are you excited about? Tell me something new in your life that I don't know. That was literally her question, sitting in my office. And I said, well, you know what? Actually, I haven't told anybody this. I said, I'm writing a book. She said, really? I said, yeah. I said, I'm kind of a little bit nervous about it. I've never written a book. I don't even know if it's going to be any good. But I'm doing it. It's a goal. I want to do it. She said, that's fantastic. She said, I want to make sure I get one of the first copies. So I did. And then all of a sudden, she had me come and speak at a group. That was years ago. And then do this and do that. And then I'm in Chicago with you, in Nashville. And I'm back. Nice enough to have me back, right? How did that all start? She asked. Ask the questions. It's not overnight, right? Relationships take time. But I'm telling you right now, relationships are far greater than rates. They are. If your agent is constantly banging on you because of rate, there's a problem, right? I mean, honestly, most of the time the rates are pretty close. Really, they are. There's a few outliers that buy business and they won't last, Okay, we know that. Okay? Focus on the relationship. When you build the relationship, everything else will follow. I promise you. Okay? Any other questions? Anything? I really appreciate you guys are very attentive, and I appreciate the back and forth. That was a lot of fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll put it to use. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.